Hi guys, I'm back. It's been a little bit of a while since I made a video like this, and if it's your first time in the channel, welcome in. Today I just wanted to kind of talk about my experiences leaving World of Warcraft after playing for 18 years. And yeah, I did say leaving World of Warcraft. Now that I've played about just over 100 days of Final Fantasy, what originally was me just kind of popping over to check out the game, see how I thought about it. Turns out I'm now the meme, the walking advertisement. That's me. And I feel like I give a bit of an update video because I'm in a bit of a better position to have more level-headed thoughts now. I think I'm kind of out of the honeymoon period, so to speak, and kind of in with the just day-to-day life of the game now. Doesn't mean to say that I enjoy the game any less. Just feel like I'm not going to be splurging about anything and everything because I'm just like this ADHD kid, like getting distracted by everything. I definitely still get distracted by a lot of stuff in the game, but I'm trying to bring some points. So I have a little notepad document, just bullet points that I wanted to talk about. And I know that you guys liked this style of video in the past where I just kind of ramble into the camera. So apologies that I didn't put one of these out in a while. I will try to make them a more frequent thing on a channel, okay? So into the actual video itself then, I bet most of the MSQ vampires out there are kind of dying to know where I'm at if you don't watch the streams. This YouTube channel, if you didn't notice, is a little bit behind. You might have noticed it's still in A Realm Reborn. I am, funnily enough, not still in A Realm Reborn. I'm actually through the entirety of A Realm Reborn, and those videos are coming out very, very soon, kind of summarizing that. And I'm actually at the end of base Heavensward, so patch 3.0 is like the last MSQ quest I did. And now I'm kind of, I like to do it a little bit differently. You might have noticed I take my sweet time. I kind of get to an end plateau of the game, you know, the end of A Realm Reborn, and I started going and doing all the optional little side dungeons, and I did the Cause of Bahamut and stuff like that. So I like to kind of get to a plateau and then go and kind of explore. So right now, currently, I'm doing Alexander raids. Done them on normal. Love the story, by the way. And currently doing them on Savage Blind, actually. So that's my current kind of stream content that I'm doing. That leads us pretty nicely into my thoughts on the MSQ. I suppose I'll expand on those a little bit so far. ARR, contrary to popular belief, I actually thought was pretty good overall. I think it was very necessary world building, character building, fleshing out those characters, the Scions. Alphino especially rose up through my ranks. I do have a tier list where I recorded it a couple months back actually, of like back at the end of A Realm Reborn. I wanted to like snapshot my thoughts into a video, so I made a tier list. I just haven't uploaded it because chronologically on this channel it doesn't make sense to yet. So I've got like a tier list of where I thought characters are in terms of like at the end of A Realm Reborn, how I think their character arc's going, how I think how useful they are, how much I personally enjoy them, or kind of you know, they gel with me personality wise and stuff. So Alphino, you know, rose up probably from, you know, snobby little brat to pretty cool fleshed out character. I like his arc. I know he can still be a little bit of a brat, but we all got to start somewhere, right? But yeah, in general, I thought the world building especially was really good through the storyline. I think now I have a theory that a lot of people, because loads of people told me like, oh, it just gets better after Realm Reborn. You just need to grit your teeth through a Realm Reborn and the game will get good. And then I'm sat here like, Realm Reborn was great. And I have a bit of a controversial opinion on Heavensward, which I'll share in a minute as well, so far at least. But yeah, everyone was like, grit your teeth. I only thought there was a couple bits of it that were pretty slow, like maybe like just before you go and fight Titan with the Company of Heroes, I think it's called, with the Stinky Cheese quest line and Brayflocks and all that kind of stuff. Where I think they kind of meme into it a bit anyway in the quest text. They're like, oh, you thought we were done. I'm going to go send you on this other thing. And then you go and like save Wineport and things like that. So I do think they kind of play into it. They know what they were doing. And I think a lot of people who probably have that like set in stone opinion, like air are bad. I think that they probably played it like before they did a lot of the cutting of the fat. Apparently they removed a lot of quests, so maybe people just kind of have it in their head that like, yeah, ARR sucked originally. So maybe go back and replay it. That would be my advice. Don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So it definitely is possible to, right? So yeah, patch stuff was good. Moonbreeder, pour one out. That kind of sucked. I didn't like the whole death of Moonbreeder, to be honest. I guess that was like their first kind of like teetering, aside from like Neuraxia, the lettuce kick, which there was like a coin flip. Either you were like, oh man, that sucks, or everyone just pissed themselves. So I had my entire Twitch chat at the time just like hold, pause, and then they started like spamming kick W's and stuff, and I'm just sat there like, no, Neuraxia, because I really like the sylphs, right? So that kind of sucked. That was like the first playing on the heartstrings. Then we had what do we have? Moonbreeder, obviously, which she was like brought in really, really quickly and then almost killed off just as quick as she came in, which kind of sucked because she was obviously like really important and integral to the quest line. Like teaching us how to dispose of Ascians is obviously like a really, really big plot point. And the fact that she came in and kind of did that for us was great. And then they just like, see you later. So that kind of sucked. But obviously we've had Halshafant since then, which was rough. That one almost got me. I felt my eye twitch on that one. You know, I haven't cried yet. So some of you guys are going to be like, he is soulless, heartless, and cold. I just say, game needs to try harder. You need to pull it out of me, all right? But yeah, I think overall ARR really good. I enjoyed the whole like trials through the patches and the setup for the ending. I've got my entire like I'm going to put out my entire like unedited reaction to all the cutscenes in according to my whiteboard in like a couple weeks from now. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. But yeah, onto my controversial Heavensward opinion, which to be fair, when I voiced it on stream, most people actually eventually came around and was like, yeah, you know what? When we do separate it out into like, you know, base Heavensward and then the patches, because they all know, all my chatters, they all know like what's coming, right? They've done the whole patches, they've done the whole MSQ. And I'm sat there like, I only have base Heavensward like as a segment to kind of gauge an opinion on so far. Apparently like patches up to like 3.3 or something are like really, really good. And that's where it kind of like starts earning its like a award winning kind of title thing. So for me, Heavensward base, I thought that it was a little bit slow to get going. Obviously that is still important in storyline, world building, character building and stuff. But a lot of those characters so far, for me, obviously this is half an opinion because I haven't done the whole of Heavensward in its entirety. So take it with a grain of salt. So we met like the Four Toms boys, Emilenian. He not my favorite character. But hopefully he's going to improve, much like Alfie. The other not Halshafant, the other Four Tom's son of the Count, I actually thought he was super cool. I really enjoyed questing with him. I hope he does good things in future. And then we've got Aymeric being a badass. We've got the Count himself being a badass. Halshafant was my absolute boy. I enjoyed him from basically start to finish, of like meeting him in A Realm Reborn, going through the patch content with him and stuff. He's like bringing us into the whole Ishgard and all of the Ishgardians and stuff like that. And then he just got taken away from us, which did make me sad. And this is kind of why I so far am like not the hugest fan of Heavensward, because I feel like the vault was great. Like it was terrible, but it was great, right? Like you've got to appreciate like a good story, because if it doesn't take from you and it doesn't make you feel emotionally and stuff, then you're not going to be invested. And that's like the same with just media in general. Like I like to feel that when I watch a film or a TV show and stuff as well, right? Like when I consume that, I want to be attached to the characters, and they did a really good job making me attached to Halshafant. And then they took him away, and I was like, fuck. But that just makes me like hate Thordan and the Heavensward Knights, like the 12, more. This is kind of why I didn't like the ending to 3.0 as much, just because I feel like story-wise it was fine, but in practicality, like gameplay-wise, it didn't deliver for me personally. Like Thordan, I did it on minimum eye level. I do everything on minimum eye level, no echo. Didn't seem to make much of a difference. Like the guy just fell over. So it was like all of this leading up to this like big glorious moment that we've been like going through, learning through all the different like dragon lore, piecing it all together bit by bit as we go with different flashbacks. You know, we like slayed Nidhogg and things like that. And it was all kind of building up to this with the eyes and this kind of like ascended like draconic kind of power that was like forbidden. And you like you learn that it's like humanity that turned on the dragons, not the other way around, which is like what everyone's kind of thought to believe and stuff like that. So like, you know, biggest betrayal of anime history and whatnot. And yeah, just like Thordan kind of fell over, and it was just like, oh, it was all for like this dude who just like died in 2 seconds. And then Zephyrin, who's obviously the guy who throws a spear at Haoshi, or at me, sorry, and Haoshi blocks it. He just like appears as a summon like halfway through the fight, and he just died in like 2 seconds. Like even on minimum eye level, like the guy just died. Now he's gone. We don't see him again so far. And it's like, oh, well, I didn't really feel like I avenged my friend. You know, like I didn't really feel like I got closure about Haoshi. So for me, not saying the ending was bad. I think overall 3.0 Heavensward was good, still super solid, but like soured the ending a little bit for me there. Hoping that the patches deliver a little bit more for me. From what I've heard, they do, and this comes kind of as well. It's like twofolded because it's about managing expectations a little bit. I think the reason I enjoyed A Realm Reborn so much is because I went into it with absolutely no expectations. I was just trying the game for the first time, and then every day people were like, ARR bad, ARR sucks, just got to get through ARR, it's only up from here. And it just dropped my expectations so low because I was like, well, I mean, it sucks, I guess. So, and then I kept like finding these kind of like glittering moments in it, like, oh, I really like that, I really like that part. And I think that like having my expectations low and exceeding them was just like far, far, far better than the opposite happened with Heavensward. Everyone's like, just wait till Heavensward. Heavensward's going to be amazing. There's all these cool things. Like, and then people were like linking it as well. Cause like, obviously I stream all of my gameplay as well. So I've got like a little bit of a different kind of playthrough stance than a lot of people have. You know, if you're just playing it by yourself, like I'm also on camera. I'm also reacting. Also like people are watching, you know, how I play the game, and I only play it on stream, like I said. So you can like tie it in. People are like, oh yeah, you know, like this is when like viewership will pop off and things like that. So you're kind of like thinking in your brain like, oh god, I need to make Heavensward count. I need to make sure I'm fully there in the zone every time. So you got a lot of different factors kind of coming into play, and I think that caused me to have like really, really, really high expectations for Heavensward. As I said, it's not over yet. I haven't finished the whole thing, but for the base, where I felt like I could separate A Realm Reborn into like the base game and then the patches, like 2 segments, and my whole like base journey was really awesome. Possibly a lot of that was like honeymooned because of the Sprout and all these like, oh, first time this, first time that. I felt like my stream for the end of A Realm Reborn, like my celebration kind of stream, was like really crazy awesome. You know, it was like you do Castrum Meridianum straight into the Praetorium, and then you go straight into like Ultima, which was still probably one of my favorite trials, because I think it's been reworked. Also Cape Westwind as part of that as well. It was just like back to back to back to back awesome things happening. And like for me, then I was on this like really, really big high. And then I came out like base Heavensward, and I was just like, all right. Like I thought the Asian Prime thing was really cool, by the way. That fight was awesome. I almost forgot about that until just now. Asian Prime thing was really cool. And then Thordan just like that's the thing. Thordan sticks out in my mind so much that like I almost put everything else kind of to the side, right? Like I don't get to remember the whole thing, just like all these positives. I'm just like, I just got like a little bit soured by Thordan. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts so far on the story for anyone that was interested in that part. I'm just going to jump in. I know this video is already going on a little bit. Just to like some of my favorite things and least favorite things about the game so far. I feel like no kind of here's my thoughts after 100 days video would be complete with like reiterating what I do like about the game specifically. Obviously the story is, you know, its thing. And then some other things I've got is like the community, obviously as as someone coming over from World of Warcraft, it's absolutely still night and day difference. Mentality wise, like I feel more positive, I feel more energetic. You know, I'm basically surrounded by positive people, which makes me in turn feel more positive. Coming over, you know, in stark contrast to WoW, where there's a lot of negativity. You just have to look at basically anyone who plays retail WoW, look at their tweet history, and you will see what I'm talking about. Or just type retail WoW into Twitter, and you'll probably see all these terrible like hate threads and stuff like that. Just like the same way as positivity surrounding me in this game, negativity in WoW obviously made me feel pretty terrible as a person. It was making me cynical and depressed, to be honest, and now I've got rid of all that. So obviously I love that about the game. The whole all jobs in pardon me, all jobs in one character, that massively resonates for me. I've gone into this in a previous video. I do have a couple other, if you like this style of video, like talking head kind of videos where I just ramble my thoughts. All jobs in one character. I just love that I can play every single class, every single job on the same character, and I'm like on my Warrior of Light. Like for me personally, my Warrior of Light is great and very special because she's an aura. She's a aura base, but I Fantasia now and then. I have, you know, sub goals on stream and things. We spin the wheel of Fantasia. So I've had many different faces on my character. She has been Lalafell more often than probably a lot of you would like to know. She has been Elezen, female Elezen. She's been male Highlander. She has been cat boy, cat girl. Still got a lot of different ones. We haven't landed on the Fantasia wheel yet, so I would probably like to try out every single race eventually. But yeah, like I love that I have my Warrior of Light, and she is like, all my memories are on that character. It's like no matter which face she's currently wearing, which, you know, race she currently is, which job I'm currently playing, I am doing that all on like one encompassing character, and it's like all my memories, all my playtime consolidated onto her, which I think is awesome. Something obviously that WoW didn't offer me. You have to make, you know, to play every single class and spec, you have to make like 13 or 14 characters, level them up 13 or 14 times, gear them up 13 or 14 times, which I suppose you probably do still have to do in FF, but you can at least acquire the gear when you're on like your warrior. You can acquire some Dragoon gear, for example, right? So that's really, really awesome. Still love that about the game. And then the scaling down of old content. Personally, I feel like this is somewhat of a like magnum opus that FF has. I don't know how it works in other MMOs, but as a WoW player veteran, this is like completely alien to me. We only really have like time walking in World of Warcraft, which is like on a rotation. It happens like once a month for a week, and it's very shoddy. Like the scaling's bad, the replayability is pretty bad. The participation is pretty bad. There's not really that many good rewards. There's obviously not good rewards for like scaling down and going back and doing Calls of Bahamut. Like you can get glams, but people just wanted to do it for the challenge because we could when I did it, right? Like I made a static for that with my viewers, and we did it blind, minimum eye level, and all that. So it was really, really, really fun. One of my highlights, and it kind of leads me into my next point as well about blind raiding, which I'll talk about. But just like the fact that exists, and like I just feel like it opens up so much opportunity, right? Like infinite replayability. You can go back if you're a level 90 and go and play with like your friends. Like, you know, all my viewer base are level 90 and they come and play with me, a noob, a sprout. Like they can just scale down and we can go do something. We can go do a trial, or we can go do a raid or something like that. So same thing I'm doing Alexander Savage at the moment, right? And just the fact that you can like have, maybe like a little bit of a watered down rotation, but it's playable and some people find it fun. For me personally, I'm an enjoyer of less buttons most of the time, so for me it's fine. Like then I can focus on like experiencing the content in its whole kind of thing, right? Like quite a lot of the boss fights are very cinematic, like the transition and the turn 13 when you're facing off against Bahamut, like that's an experience. So if you're pushing less buttons and stuff like that, you can really focus on the atmosphere of those raids, which I personally enjoy. If my stance on that will change in 2 years' time, who knows? But that's where I'm at now 100 days in, just over 6 months, like real time, 100 streams I've done. Like, well, I think I'm on like 110 now. But yeah, I do think that that offers you a lot more that you can just kind of do on a daily basis. You can pop on and be like, I'm bored. I've done all my end game stuff for the week or month or whatever for all time for the rest of Endwalker or something, and be like, I'm just gonna look through Party Finder or find someone that needs help with something and just go do it, like, because I can scale myself down. I think that's a nice touch. And then blind rating, as I mentioned. Blind rating, interesting, very, very interesting. Something I've never really had any experience doing in World of Warcraft. If you didn't know, the etiquette in WoW is kind of watch a guide or get out. So turning up and being on the same, I think just in general, playing with people on the same wavelength of you is the most important part. So like having like-minded players is obviously the biggest thing. So if you've got 7 people who want to play blind and 1 person who doesn't, that's not really going to work. So I do like the idea that there are like acceptable groups, which are just like, show up, we'll work it out together, we'll have a good time. And I think that's really, really nice. I've had some experiences with doing blind trials where everyone in the group know what to do and I don't. So they're all kind of like, I say, please guys, like, let me do it. Don't just carry me through it, because I want the experience of, piecing it together, working out the strat and stuff. And they kind of just have to sit there muted and be like, yep, we'll just have to sit here wiping till Russ gets it. And I don't like that as much, because it's like all on me to like solo come up with the strats. What I do like is blind rating with other blind people. So right now, as I said, doing Alexander Savage, I'm in a party, like I've made a static again from my Discord, and they are 7 of us are blind, and 1 guy did them like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. I think when it maybe when it was current, and he just sits there and does this thing, but he kind of like plays dumb, like he acts dumb as if he doesn't know the mechanics, until we are like, okay, you go, this is your assignment, go do this, because we've worked something out. But like cooking up the strat with the other 6 people who are blind, now that's really fun, because we're all like throwing ideas in, spitball and this and that. Maybe what if we try this? And then it's really good because you have other people to bounce off with these tactics, which I think is really, really fun. Definitely much more fun than just like coming up with stuff by yourself. I don't know how often it is at endgame that people do that, but I like to think that, it's an option as long as you find 7 other people that are happy to do that and happy to be like, yeah, this might take months. Then I like that that's a thing, because it reminds me of like about as close as you can get to like race to world first rating in World of Warcraft, where you're just kind of like coming up with strats, looking over your death logs and combat logs and stuff like that. So that's cool. That's cool. I really, really am a fan of that. And then a couple other small things like that I just enjoy about the game. The music. So far, I can't think of a bad piece of music that I've found. Just a little extra bit of immersion there, pulling it all together. I love these like melodic background like zone pieces that you have, and like the daytime nighttime shift and stuff like that. Really, really nice. Like my favorite zone was like, I think it's called the Churning Mists. Remember going in there and it was nighttime, and I was like heard this like really nice kind of like piano recital going on. Go check it out. Type it in on Google or YouTube after this video. Churning Mist nighttime theme, and just sit there, close your eyes, and let it wash over you. That piece of music is just amazing. Like, and just seeing, like, going from zone to zone and zone, and like, you're like, ooh, this is a hidden gem. This one's kind of a banger, or like, oh, this one's like really calming and stuff. Like, just pulls me back in the game. Kind of the same with like mounts and stuff. Like, it just like refocuses me on the game all the time. So yeah, that's kind of all the things I like. There's a couple other things I have written on my list, like the frequent events that we have. Currently the FF15 event. Got my regalia, by the way. Thank God. Now I can chauffeur people around. But yeah, silly things like chocobo racing, maps, fishing, ocean fishing, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I could probably make an entire another video on all of these silly things that I love spending time on. Which is another reason why I take my sweet time going through the MSQ, because I just love I just like to play the game and enjoy playing the game, and I don't want to sit there just like rushing the MSQ like a lot of people who come over to the game. in general, but particularly from WoW. They like rush the MSQ, they get like the big surge of viewers from the stream, and then they fall off hard. I'm just kind of immersing myself in the world and the universe and the fan base and all that stuff, and I'm just kind of enjoying the game, showing people that I enjoy the game, enjoying the game with people, and hoping that that's going to be a better long-term kind of game plan for myself mentally, and also the lifespan, I suppose, of like my content, as like my channels, like my stream and my YouTube and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with the game. There's a couple things that I don't enjoy. It's literally a couple, and I already talked about one of them, the kind of janky mechanics. I feel like they could have been done better, but I'm going to put that down to Heavensward raids and ARR raids being like them finding their footing. I've heard in Stormblood onwards, the raids are like peak all the time. So I'm going to put that one under the rug. And the only other thing that I could be critical of is the the tab targeting. That is pretty dog shit, to be honest, especially in PvP. I've had bad experience with tab targeting, especially coming over from WoW, which probably has like one of the best, if not the best, tab targeting in any MMO from what I've heard. So that's a bit of a sting, but that's literally the only thing I that so far I can be critical of in my personal experience. I've obviously heard about the whole toxic positivity and you pull it, you tank it, and you didn't pay my sub and all that kind of stuff. I've heard that in like videos I've reacted to, but for me personally, I haven't experienced them, so I'm not going to sit here and judge something that I don't personally have experience with myself, right? But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I know this video got a little bit long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, sorry that I haven't put one of these out in a little while. If you made it this far in the video, though, chuck a little alu in the chat or come on over to the Twitch live stream, twitch.tv/JustRuss. As I said, I stream all my gameplay. I only play on stream, actually, maybe like 99% of the time. Sometimes I've logged on to like sort out my inventory or something off stream, but like all my actual gameplay and stuff is on stream. So yeah, come on over there. There's a VODs channel I mentioned, which everything will be linked in the description and the pinned comment and stuff. So feel free to come on over there. And yeah, I'll try to do videos like this more often. Let me know in the comments as well what you want to see on the channel, if you enjoy the kind of like stream kind of condensed versions of like, you know, my time spent and like story moments and things like that. Anyway, this has gotten way too long. So have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'll hopefully see you back here or over on the stream soon. All right. As always, peace.